Allegro WIPR 91.3 FM presents Reflections, hosted by Jorge González, a fresh new way to look at events with our well-being in mind.
Welcome to Reflections, your host Jorge González. Buenos dias. Hope you had a good Thursday, and if it's the repeat program, I wish you a good Friday. I have a guest today, Silvia Fernandez, Dr. Silvia Fernandez, Dr. Soul. Silvia, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jorge.
As I usually like to start by thanking my listeners, the feedback that they give me, the support that I've received. Has been very, very grateful for that. I also want to thank my two sponsors, Antilles Insurance, Te Queremos Seguro, y Banco Popular. Banco Popular has been with me personally and in our family businesses forever. I think it was 19 years old.
Wow.
So glad to have them supporting this program. That's for our well-being, and I hope you enjoy today with Silvia. Any feedback, any comments that you have, text me, call me. It's 939-333-1010. Last week we did not have the program on Thursday because of Thanksgiving. You were able to listen to classical music on that Thursday. Maybe you were like me, having Thanksgiving dinner with the family, and then hopefully you listened to the Friday program that we repeated the program of November 14th. November has been kind of weird. I took a trip, as you know, last week, the week before, excuse me, the 21st, before Thanksgiving. I came back from a 10-day trip, and so those two Thursdays were recorded, and then came that where I described the trip and reflected on the educational experience that I had and how important it had been in my life, and maybe Silvia, in terms of her experience with education, we can go a little bit further into it. There was a fantastic article that I read this morning, and sometimes you have everything all figured out, and then you read this article, and it kind of says, boy, this just ties up so many things that I've been talking about. It's by Arthur Brooks, and the title of the article is How the Ivy Leagues Have Destroyed Education. But it's incredibly interesting, the article. But in any case, we've had these hiatus. Hopefully now in December, of course, we'll have December 25 and January 1, so it'll be a little have to do some probably recording and work around those days, but it's been an interesting this month anyway. I met Silvia, and she made a presentation a few weeks ago at San Juan Rotary, and proceeded to become a member of San Juan Rotary, and has been really active in everything we've done ever since she became a member. But Silvia is a life coach and a psychologist. Maybe you can tell us a little bit your educational background, and within the educational background, more important, where were the moments in that educational world from youth through your postgraduate studies? Where were the critical moments that led you to this life coach, to dedicate yourself to help people along the lines of my program, people's well-being? So tell us a little bit about your educational experience, so that we have a little bit of a feel of how you arrived where you are.
This is amazing. Thank you, Jorge, and hello to everyone. I wanted to start this interview with asking you why you chose me to be part of your program, right? Because it's called Reflections, and I hadn't heard of it before, but now I will listen to it more, of course. And you already answered. So how did this journey of education started, and how I end up with helping people? And it all started with my beautiful mom, Isabel Colorado, and how when I was little I saw her, she was always helping everyone. And when it came to us, when my father passed, I was 11, and she, soon after that, she asked me, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do for work? And I said, I want to be a social worker, because I wanted to be like her. I didn't tell her that at the moment, but I thought this was beautiful, that she was helping everyone. And then this was curious, because she asked me, do you want to live like we live now, better or worse?
From a financial point of view?
Yes,
Okay.
financial and lifestyle wise, right? And I said, the same or better, not worse. And she said, well, maybe psychology or psychiatry then. Because as you know, in Puerto Rico, unfortunately, social workers don't get paid well enough.
Right.
And they work a lot. So thank you for those of you listening today. And so there started my journey with psychology. And then I took my first class of psychology at a high school level. Dr. Murphy was amazing teacher. I loved him. Then
Where was high school?
High school, so we were in Academia del Perpetuo Socorro as I was growing up, and then my father passed away. And then after that, my mother remarried. And when she married my stepdad, who passed away also several years ago, Dr. Frank Wadsworth, he used to work for the federal government in Puerto Rico. He was in charge of El Yunque for over 20 years.
Wow.
At some point, yeah. So, and then
The U.S. Forest
Buchanan.
Reserve, is that what?
No, El Yunque, the rainforest.
Yeah, what was the organization that was that he was working with?
Rio Piedras, the Forest Service.
Yeah,
The Forest Service,
okay.
yeah. And so we got to go to Buchanan, Fort Buchanan High School.
Okay.
And there I got my 4 years of high school.
Okay.
And psychology started there.
And there you were saying you took a first course there with Dr.
Murphy, Mr. Murphy, now Dr. Murphy.
Okay.
Amazing. We still have him on our Facebook groups and such. Amazing professor. Then bachelor's degree.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
This article by Arthur Brooks, says that when they did these studies, in terms of what teacher was really important, influential, it wasn't this by an incredible percentage. It wasn't the ones who taught them information, gave them information. It was the ones who led them to change their life and their lifestyle and their way of looking at the world. Is that
and Fort Buchanan
Murphy?
was amazing, yes. And because he had all these work questions that he asked us about our lives and how we saw life. But also Buchanan overall gave me a much broader perspective of what life was about, because Perpetuo Socorro had a certain group of people mostly that were going to that school. So, and then we lived in Miramar, so it was like a close community. And then for Buchanan, you saw anything and everything there, from different social status, from different races, from different, I saw everything.
Religions.
Religions, definitely. Yeah, one of my best friends from high school, and still we're friends, Kimberly Hanna, very different religions.
And much more religious.
Much more and much less also.
Yeah, of course,
And for
yes.
Buchanan, a little bit of everything. So that was amazing. And then psychology here in Puerto Rico as my bachelor's, and then
At the UP? Or?
at the UPR in Rio Piedras. Yeah,
Okay.
I was afraid to move to the States in my bachelor's. But then the second year I thought, okay, I can do an exchange program in Spain.
Okay.
But I ended up in the States, and there we had a group of 50-something students from around the world that also expanded my
And
my
where
vision
was that?
of
Where'd you study?
New Jersey of all places.
In the name of the university? Or?
Trans State, because it was part of an exchange program with the
Right,
UPR.
with UPR.
Yeah,
okay.
so that was amazing. I met so many people from different parts of the world, and I mean, you can.
So you continue. I mean, you.
Life
from very
gave
young, you continue. That's.
Well, you went to Harvard, I read, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you must have met
But I changed.
really
I
amazing.
changed a lot as I went along. But you wanted to study
Psychology,
social work, psychology, and you kept at it.
Yeah, I kept that.
No detours.
No detour. I loved helping people. I love being helpful to people. But at some point I realized, okay, clinical psychology is too tight. It just gives you some rules, and then people are so different. I worked at psychiatric hospitals. I worked at juvenile detention centers, private practice, and then I realized this is too tight for me. I don't know how to explain it.
Straight jacket.
Yeah, a straight jacket psychology. Yeah, and then it's based on sickness, not on healthy, and not on being healthy, but focusing on what's wrong or different from the person. And I didn't like that. Someone told me in Israel, you know what? Psychologists are the police of the society.
The police?
Police of society.
Oh, the police is right.
And I was like, oh, I don't want to be the police of society. On the contrary, I want people to enjoy life to the fullest. I want people to be happy. How can I change that? So I studied industrial organizational psychology, another PhD. And 2 PhDs after that, I'm like, I don't like psychology, Mom. What can I do? And she's like, do whatever makes you happy, honey. My mom is the best. And so I went on to get a certification I had other certifications along the way, but on...
Incidentally, because I had Tito Colorado on
My
the
uncle.
program, so my listeners know Tito. Well, they know Tito, not from my program. I'm being immodest. They know Tito Colorado, but your mother is Tito Colorado's sister.
Yeah,
so you're
yeah.
Tito Colorado's niece, and that's okay. So go on. Sorry for the interruption, but
It's okay,
putting
it's okay.
people in perspective of where you
Yeah.
come from.
Yeah.
So
And-
your mother's been really, really important. in
Oh,
your
the
life, yeah.
support she has given me. So I went on to study life and business coaching, and that opened my eyes so much more onto how sometimes we focus on the problem and we should focus on looking for alternatives instead of problems, on how to solve a problem. And happiness and focus on joy. How can I be more joyous in my life? I retired when I was 47, while I decided that while living in Vieques, of all places. I was in San Juan working for the federal government and Judge Helpi, which was amazing. And my mentor, Dr. McGee, who passed away. And then I realized there has to be more. There has to be more. I should be able to enjoy living. People, we are not brought here. We are brought into life to enjoy life,
Right.
to enjoy nature, to enjoy each other's company, to have fun. And sometimes we get derailed into thinking this is about money, this is about status, this is about, and then you realize that is all empty.
Right.
Status is fine. I mean, it's fine. Don't get me wrong. Money is amazing. I love money also, but life is more than that.
So you're with the federal government with helping, but what was the role in the court system?
Yes,
Federal
I
US.
was assistant to a monitor of a case that helped support. I think it's still going on, but there was a federal case against the Department of Health of Puerto Rico.
Oh,
There was a lawsuit, federal lawsuit, and they were watching. The United States was watching over the civil rights of adults with disability in Puerto Rico, and I was the assistant to the monitor in that
Okay,
case,
okay.
or the coordinator between the both sides.
Okay.
And he was the best supervisor in the world, and I had asked for it. I don't know how many people, I don't know if you've done this exercise ever, Jorge, and I'm sure many of the things you wanted in life you have gotten. I'm sure if you look back, because now you're like, oh, I didn't want this. But if you look back maybe 10, 15 years, maybe you asked for that at some point, but you just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is much deeper than that, because people will say, I never asked for this sickness forever. I mean, for example. And I say to people, have you ever written a list of the things that you want out of life? We write our problems sometimes. I need to fix this. How many people have made a list of what they wanted? And I always wanted a job with the federal government. And it was like 10, 20 years after that, but it was the best and the best supervisor. So I made this list of what I wanted, and working for the federal government and helping support the civil rights of adults with disability was just a dream come true. as well as my supervisor.
And Judge Halpi is at the circuit level.
I know now.
He's called me a number of times. He wants to come on the program. He wants to talk about
Yes.
the federal court
Yes.
system, and we haven't been able to connect. But
Well,
I respect him very much.
Yes, yes. He is amazing and was instrumental in my being there, and I so appreciate him for that. Also, everything he's doing and done and will be doing, right?
We have a couple of minutes still, John. Yeah. Okay. So there you decide that the monitoring and the court, and even though that was something that you had put in your bucket list that you wanted to work in with the federal government, you decide that you want to change, and that the moment of transition you choose to go to Vieques, and what did you have in mind? Just a break? You're kind of like what people do when they have a burnout?
To tell you the truth, I have no clue what I was thinking.
Really?
But first I moved to, I had an apartment in Isabela.
Okay.
I moved to Isabela, and then I thought, okay, this is great. I think I needed seclusion. I needed time to myself. I went to my first silent retreat, 10-day silent retreat, Vipassana, in 2009. I quit my job in 10 days. I quit my job in 2010. And in 2010, I left my boyfriend. I quit my job. I went to Isabela to live. I changed my whole life. And everybody thought, oh God, she's going crazy. She's mad. What happened to her? And I just needed a big change in my life. And it was really nice to just quiet all the noise from San Juan.
What's an interesting, that one of the main areas that the Surgeon General has mentioned is loneliness and being lonely, and yet there is solitude that is really, really important. And then so there's this loneliness that's very hurtful and creates depression and the worst kinds of ailments, and yet there's this, what you're talking about, there's this solitude and there's silence which some people need and can handle, and so we're going to when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but the moment for the first segment has come. So this is Jorge González, and my guest is Dr. Silvia Fernandez, and she's likes to be known as Dr. Soul, and we'll talk a little bit about how that came about, which is one of the great fascinating stories that you'll ever hear. So we're right back after the pause.